On today's episode of PDubs Arcade Loft, we're going to do a review of the Anbernic RG35XX handheld. Please keep in mind there's also an RG35XX Plus handheld out there that was just released recently that has some improved specs and features. And on this video, we're just going over the standard RG35XX. The reason why I picked this thing up versus the Plus version is I noticed that this particular unit was sold on Amazon for only 75 bucks. Only 75 bucks, and it also comes with a micro SD card with 5,474 built-in games. And guess what? They're not all duplicates. It's not a ROM dump like you see in other places. And the number one reason I bought it, it looked like my original Game Boy. And I'm just a big fan of that, man. That nostalgia is what made me choose this one versus the SS Plus. Inside of the box is a USB to USB-C for charging cable. You also get a nice little instruction booklet. Don't lose that. Stick it in a drawer and forget about it. Also, you get some wipes included, and then they also provide a nice little screen protector, which I'm going to leave off during the video just to make sure we don't get any glare on the camera as we show this thing off. I was so impressed when I took this thing out of the box and I saw, how much it resembled a Game Boy, but obviously more modern. The A, B, Y, X buttons are all great. The menu, select, start, and D buttons all work great. I mean, this is the kind of quality that Anbernic is known for. You have a headphone jack, the DC, USB-C power port. You got your volume up and down. Settings from 1 through 10 are in the built-in menu. And on the other side here, you have two micro SD card ports. Again, one of them is preloaded, your power button, your reset button. And then on the back of the device, you do have your shoulder buttons, R1, R2, L2, L1. Okay, let's dive into some of the important need-to-know specs on this particular handheld device that I picked up off Amazon. It does have a quad-core GPU, ARM Cortex-A9 processor, fast charging cable, 5 to 6 hours of battery, HDMI out, 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, 3.5-inch IPS screen. The unit I bought is sold on Amazon for $75. There'll be an affiliate link in the video description below. And that particular device that I bought comes preloaded. That's right, there's a micro SD card included that's got anywhere between 5,400 to 5,500 games, 15 different emulators, all your main consoles, your MAME, your arcade, your FB Neo, your Segas, your Nintendos, and then, of course, it does have some PlayStation 1 games on here as well. Okay, let's dive into the user interface and options before we get to some gameplay. The user interface is a little boring in my opinion right here. You just got these little tiles for games, settings, favorites, things like that. But it's very easy to use. You can just go into the settings, take a look at the battery, shut down the system. You could also change various settings to kind of tweak this a little bit. You could turn, the sounds it makes whenever you push buttons, turn that sound on or off. But you can't actually change the backgrounds. I'm assuming you could probably upload your own backgrounds as well. They have a few cool ones preloaded on this card. Nice, bright, colorful backgrounds. So you can customize the visual experience, change the language settings. You could also, what I found interesting is you could change the icon. So this is a nice little feature. Always love seeing it when Anbernic does this. So you could change the different icon settings to something that maybe appeals to you a little bit more with the matching background. When you go into the actual games folder, all the emulators are separated, obviously, just like any other system. And then, of course, you just click on the folder to access the games. Now, here is what I really, really liked about this build, because I've purchased a lot of stuff, man. I bought a lot of stuff where you get these builds. You hear 5,000 games, the first thing you say is, well, how many duplicates are there? As you can see, as we navigate through these menus, you're not seeing very many duplicate games at all. Very, very, very few duplicate games, which I loved. I love the fact that someone actually combed through this and just gave us some games that, aren't duplicates. I don't need 10 variations of every game out there like Cadillacs and dinosaurs. You can rotate the screen for vertical shmups, so that's interesting. Out of the box, the vertical games were set horizontally. I had to rotate them in order to play Gunbird and many other games. And then, of course, you can also, when you're actually in-game, if you hit the menu button when you're in-game, you'll notice that you have different save slots. So that's pretty cool as well. You can have save slots for your various games. You could also change the different resolutions or display effects. I have it set to high def. They also have scan line options. They have a couple different scan line options. I got to tell you, man, I wasn't too happy with the scanline options. I think they look okay, but honestly, if I'm going to play on this thing, I'm just going to leave it on the high def setting because I just kind of like the way all the retro games look. As we move into the final part of this, is it worth it? Plus some gameplay demos. In my opinion, for 75 bucks, this is an awesome little handheld because keep it in mind, although it came with a preloaded card, there's other builds out there you can get that you can plug in to this machine or this mini handheld. There's other options out there for you to add. You could add more games to this, take games away. You know, you could customize it. You know, make it your own experience. So in my opinion, is it worth it? Absolutely. This is a great little handheld. It's got a decent amount of power behind it, and it does run a lot of these games that are preloaded on here very, very well. Obviously, your MAME arcade games, your Nintendos, your Game Boys, your Segas, your Super Nintendos, PC Engine, those games are going to run fine here on this particular device. And of course, that screen looks beautiful in my opinion. And also when it comes to PlayStation 1, I tested out a few of the PlayStation 1 games. Like for instance, I think here we're looking at Tekken 3. The games themselves looked great. I really enjoyed playing them and they were running pretty well. Now, in my opinion, if you want to try and push Nintendo 64 and other consoles, you probably want to get the RG35XX Plus, the more enhanced version of this. But if that doesn't matter to you, like here we're playing Ridge Racer on PlayStation, if like you're mainly going to be like, hey man, I just want to play Game Boy games, arcade games, you know, I want to play Nintendo console games, maybe a couple PlayStation 1 games on here. I think this is all you need versus the 35XX Plus. I'm pretty happy with this thing for only $75.